experts out there. Between 1994, 2016-ish, there's been about a 3.3 milliliter increase in sea levels per year, pretty steadily. So as a trend, you could say this one's really kind of on the takeoff point. We haven't really, obviously started shooting up. We have the Maldives are slowly disappearing. We have lots of coastlines that we're really worried about. And by about 2050, I think the entire globe will look much different if things continue as they currently are going. So that's one example. Another example is some Facebook trends. We have monthly active users starting in 2004, kind of when Facebook started becoming big, especially in the West, all the way to 2017. So you see up to 2 billion active users as of June 2017, starting barely even reaching 5 million in its first 5 years of existence. So you're seeing that trend really take off. But again, there's only so many people, right? So many people can act. I mean, eventually, if everyone has a Facebook account, the trend will hit a structural limit. Who knows what could happen thereafter. This lower graph breaks it up by age. It's interesting to look at because obviously you're going to say, well, obviously all of the millennials, well, all of the Gen Z, Generation Z people are going to probably have some sort of social media account, but a lot of the millennials will have it, so you're seeing that one arch way up pretty early and start to hit a structural limit because there's only so many millennials out there. But even what's interesting is to see how 65 and older are even almost at 50% globally. Or no, sorry, this is US. I couldn't find a global one, so I'll give you the US example. So even half of what we call the senior citizens in the States have Facebook accounts. So you're seeing that trend kind of continue to skyrocket. Another interesting trend I was seeing with the Facebook stuff is the use of Facebook Messenger. And it's interesting how less and less these days we text, right? What do we all do now? WhatsApp. So it's similar, the WhatsApp trend is similar to this, where you're seeing people are using WhatsApp over actually making a physical phone call or physically, face-to-face speaking with people or sending a text message or sending an email. So the effects on how we communicate are interesting to see how the trend is going and if it will continue going that way and what is to become of that. So this much shorter period of time from 2014 to a couple summers ago, July 2016. Another interesting trend is fossil fuel consumption. This is over a very long period of time. So it starts in 1800 with barely any of everything's measured in terawatt per hours consumption of various fossil fuels, natural gas at the top there with crude oil and regular oil as well. And this one, we are starting to see a bit of a plateauing, and there's a whole variety of possible events that could disrupt this. And this is going to be very important for a lot of our Muslim societies because oil is a big commodity in those regions of the world, especially Saudi Arabia, Iran, here even to a certain extent. So you see the real takeoff happens 1950, more people have cars, the rise of the middle class, more people can afford cars, more people are using energy, there's newer technologies, much more consumption of fossil fuels. But again, there's a limit on both fossil fuels and how we are going to continue living our lives as heavy consumers of that. So will it plateau? Will we find a new source of fossil fuels to tap into and therefore the trend could be reborn? Or will we all just go solar or some other form of technology and will the trend die? Yet to be determined. Another interesting kind of scary statistic for some of us who have jobs is automation taking over jobs. This mainly focused on this main one. This was part of a piece. It was like the age of automation in 7 graphics. And so the first graphic shows automation's replacement of jobs in transportation and storage, manufacturing, and wholesale and trade. And you can see that trend taking off. And this is projecting up through, sorry, it's a little unclear. Oh no, sorry, this is actually showing up to 2017, but some of the projections have this even going further and not plateauing for a pretty significant period of time. But when this transformation takes over, it's going to happen really quick. And that's why the trend, it starts off kind of slow, but then it really just skyrockets. Especially with something like this that can very easily be implemented into a workplace atmosphere. So it's very easy for Amazon to just, fire a couple million people, throw in some robots, send them in, and they kind of take over the job. Also, that transition is going to be very messy because there is going to be things that you need humans to still do in the beginning. So there's been like the problems with, I don't know if you've heard of the bear mace problems, where a robot dropped bear mace, and the people in the factory were affected by the bear mace while the robot wasn't, so the robot just kind of kept going. And so apparently that happens like 2 or 3 times in Amazon factories. So yeah, interesting things that happen when you watch trends sort of take off. So now we're going to move into the actual trend analysis exercise that we want all of you to do. So you all should now have a piece of butcher paper, some pens and papers. So we want to take some time. We want you all to talk, get your inputs, and try to agree upon, do we want to still do the 3 trends then?
Last time we did it and it was quite successful. We asked people to choose a local trend. We asked the people to choose a local trend, I mean a trend that is strong in Malaysia, and then a global trend, something that is global but that will have an impact on Malaysia. What was the third one?
It's like Southeast and East Asia.
Oh yeah, regional, an ASEAN type of trend, right? So take 3 trends. If you go back to the yeah. So what we like you to do is discuss among yourself, identify a trend, then draw this graph. Tell us when the trend emerged, when it took off, right? Where do you think it is at the moment, and try and tell us what will happen in the future as well, right? So choose a local trend, something very local to Malaysia, then something regional and something global. 3 different trends, draw 3 different lines, tell us when they emerge. So do some research. If you need to check on the internet or whatever, get as much data as you can. Identify takeoff point. If the trend is slowing down, then you tell us it's slowing down. If it's not slowing down, that's fine. Just kind of don't limit yourself to history, but move towards the future as well. Do the historical work, get the data, because essentially what we are doing here is projecting the trend into the future. Just saying that if things continue exactly there as they are, where will they take us, right? So that's what we want to do. That group has too many people, so at least 2 people from that group should come on this group. Please. Any 2? Next 2, yeah. Let's join there. So we have these. What do we go? 5, 6, 7, 8. We need one more person here.